Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, everybody. It's Des.
And Jess.
Welcome to another episode of Speaking Into the Abyss with us. And today's episode is specifically Reddit stories.
Yay.
Yeah, woo woo. I know some of our listeners have actually thought like we should do more of these.
Yeah.
So, I mean, here we are trying it out, right?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so I guess I'll start it off.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
Okay, cool. This one is titled, There is Something Wrong with My Wife, and it comes from r/true off my chest.
Okay.
I'm posting here because my wife does not use or even really know what Reddit is, and I can't speak to anybody but my therapist about it. I've tried asking friends and family, but none of them understand the gravity of what I'm saying. I'm a 37-year-old man, and my lovely wife, 36. I have little to no problems with her. However, upon noticing little things that are mounting up to rather terrifying levels, I'm not sure I can ignore this anymore. She's a great person. She's done so much for me. She respects that I do not want to have sex after a rather traumatizing experience that I don't need to get into. She does little things that show she's listening and cares about me, and I do the same for her. I want to stay with her because we've been married for 10 years. She's all I know, but lately I just don't know what's going on and why she's acting the way she is. The first notable time was when we found an egg on the curb. We assumed it was from our neighbor, given that they have chickens and maybe an egg rolled out or something. Without a second thought, my wife stomped on the egg. Now, I would have been fine had it been an infertile egg or a cooking egg without anything inside. But the entire fetus was seen, and I threw up. She laughed, saying that it was funny, and at least the neighbors don't have to worry about another chicken. I told myself that it was just an egg, and she had no idea that there would be a fetus in it, but her reaction afterwards rattled me. I brushed it off because, like I said, I love her. Maybe that's stupid, but I do. I really love her. But the things continued, and my love for her is wavering. Some notable things I remember are down below. The first is, we have a dog, Butter. Butter is the most calm dog in the world, and he's housebroken and well-trained. However, one time he was very sick and irritated, and he went number 2 on the carpet. My wife screamed at Butter. Screamed! I told her to stop because the damage was done already, and Butter's a dog who's sick. I cleaned the carpet, and she never blew up at Butter again, but it rubbed me the wrong way because of how mean she was to him. I understand that she was frustrated, but Butter started crying and trying to give her paw to my wife, and she kept screaming at him. My mom passed in 2020, natural causes, but I was very close with her, and it took many years to accept. I keep her favorite bracelet on a table with my family photos of her and me. One day, it was missing, and I had a panic attack. The bracelet was made by my mom's grandfather, and she wore it every day. It was a part of her. But when I told my wife, she told me that she sold it.
Oh my gosh.
I sobbed. I wasn't mad at her, just devastated. But soon after, the bracelet was back on the table, and I asked her about it. She started laughing and saying, "You should have seen your face."
It was a joke?
I guess.
Oh my gosh.
Honestly, my guess, like just off the top of my head, it was like, what if she was going to sell it? And then seeing his reaction was like, all right, I'll put it back. It was a joke, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, the next is, when we were gardening, I noticed I dropped my keys. She was grouchy since it was hot and she was planting flowers since the morning. When she found them, she threw them at my face and it cut my nose. She
What?
felt horrible, but the reaction really threw me off. That's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, that's crazy. Assault?
Yeah. One time after work on Halloween, I was feeling particularly depressed for no reason. I don't blame her for this, but she played a prank on me and jump scared me. It's something we do every Halloween. I started crying and having a breakdown because it was kind of the last straw for me after my shift. She laughed and kept laughing, then went back to the living room and watched TV. One time on Facebook, we found out a classmate had died in a car accident. I told her and she shrugged, saying she didn't really know the victim, so it doesn't matter. She said it's okay for her to not care about the victim. But the poor girl was heavily injured, and my memories of her from school were pleasant. She genuinely didn't deserve what happened.
Yeah.
My wife and I love horror. We're horror fans, but I cannot stand violence against animals. It disturbs me. So when we put on When Evil Lurks. And as you can imagine, I threw up. The kicker is that she had seen it before, but she wanted to watch it with me since she loves it so much. I'm happy she loves it, but I would have appreciated a warning, which I vocalized. She shrugged it off, and that was that. That's a few, but the worst of it happened just yesterday. I tried my hardest to not say anything, but it might be my last straw. I was cleaning up our room, and my wife was at work, and I found a journal buried beneath the mattress as I was swapping sheets. And for some reason, I opened it and realized quickly it was her diary. I would have put it back if I didn't see the words on the page. I was horrified. She wrote that when she was driving, there was a line of geese crossing the street. Annoying, yes, but the thing you're supposed to do is wait. My wife wrote that the geese are a useless species, so it shouldn't matter if a few get run over. And yes, she just ran over 2 geese on the road. Again, I was horrified. I know what people will say, so I'm going to answer a few questions. I love her, and I recognize that sometimes her behavior is unacceptable and concerning. I recognize the concern, which is why I'm here in the first place, but you have to realize that for the past 16 years, she's been my world. We dated for 6 before getting married, and it's been 10 years since our wedding. In those 16 years, I've witnessed her go through horrific things, and she's witnessed the same. It's hard to sum up those 16 years, but it's difficult, and I'm already saying too much. I noticed a change over the past 3 years or so. Even then, in the moment, I didn't see it as an issue until reading the little journal entry. I can't just leave her, but I can't act the same around her after finding that out. I realized I need to confront her about what I saw. Truthfully, I am terrified. I never knew it was something she was capable of until I read it and started putting the pieces together. Whatever is going on, I don't know what to do with it. She has a therapist and so do I. She seems genuine, but I don't know what to do, knowing that she willingly killed an animal without any remorse. Honestly, I just don't want to leave her. I met her young, and it's all I know. She's seen me through my most vulnerable parts of my life, and vice versa. Her family and my family are basically intertwined. We love each other. She's basically been there longer than when she hasn't. If I have to leave her, I think that will be it for me. That's all I have. I'm 37, which isn't old, but it's also not desirable either. I don't even know why she had a crush on me. Maybe personality. I don't even know if this post will make sense. I don't know if anyone will take the time out of their day to read my struggles. My therapist is on vacation, so I can't tell her yet. I need somebody to talk to because everybody that I'm telling brushes it off since she's very sweet. I just want to fix this.
Whoa.
My first thought is killing animals is psychotic behavior.
Yes.
That's serial killer shit. What's going to stop her from, like, doing it to him next?
Yeah. I wonder, is that, like, how old was that? And is there any, like, was it a while ago?
No, there's no update.
Okay.
I think it's from today.
Okay, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone kind of said what I was thinking. I think the top comment said something about, like, hurting innocent animals is, like, the first thing that killers do before they move on to people. Which is true. I mean, they're testing their limits. They're trying to see, like, what they can get away with and stuff like that. I think it's crazy to admit that, like, in a journal. That you that you purposefully think geese are, like, I'm gonna kill them. Yeah. You know what I think is, like... But, you know, I don't know. It's, like, weird because, like, I almost want to argue for her. Not, like, I think she's, like, not crazy because it seems crazy. But, like, if it was wasps, like, you wouldn't give a fuck, you know? Yeah. But, like, because they're, like, is it because they're warm-blooded or, like, that it makes it more intense? Because some people believe that all creatures are, like, supposed to be alive and stuff like that. And so if you whack a wasp out of the air, kill their nest or whatever, you're doing just as much damage as you were as if you hit a geese or whatever. And I just, like, so I don't know if maybe her thought process on that is just, like, the same as people who kill wasps, which is, like, that they don't matter.
Like, it's way more of a mission to, like,
to kill a goose.
Geese.
I know, no, you're right. Yeah, I mean, because all you have to do is stop. You're,
and
like,
it's
choosing.
not like, it's not like she was like, oh my god, I was going so fast, they came out of nowhere.
Yeah, she
like,
literally admitted.
It was like, there was just, like, there's a line of them. I just hit 2. Whatever.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking... You're right.
Because
when you say it like that,
yeah. Because honestly, I'll remember one time when I was in high school and I had just picked up my friend. She used to live down the street from me. We're driving to school in the morning. There's a little bird on the road. And of course, usually the birds move. And I just remember we went. And of course, I don't feel like going over this little bird. I just see feathers go up in my windshield. And I was like, no. Or the little mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oop.
But you felt bad.
I felt bad. We U-turned and we like made sure, and I was like, ah.
I think that's like the difference between like a psychopath and somebody. You know what I mean? That's how you know it's an accident.
Yes,
it's like that guilt that like, holy shit, I didn't know that was gonna happen. But like, yeah, I think there's too many incidences of her not having compassion for innocent creatures.
Yeah, and like that like bracelet thing, she obviously like knew it was sentimental to him, and even if she intentionally, like you said, was gonna sell it, or she was like,
just
this is gonna be a fun prank, like,
it's a weird prank.
Yeah, it's not funny.
Yeah, especially if it's been there for so long. Why now? And it's his dead mother's.
Yeah.
It just also the lack of like seeming to care for them.
Yes.
Like their like breakdown or whatever on Halloween or whatever.
Yeah.
And just going to watch TV.
And it's like, if they've been together, he said 16 years. Like, that's insane that in 16 years you would pick up what makes your partner upset, what makes them this, and that. And like 16 years deep and you're still pulling this BS and like cutting off their life years through stress and anxiety.
Yeah, throwing
like,
keys at their face, cutting them.
Yeah, I forgot about the assault. Like, no, that's, and you know what? That's just like a little
taste.
Yeah. He's like, this is just off of the top of my head.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's the things that stick out the most. But there's probably so many.
That's just like what he was like, dude, I can't. He probably.
And that's probably what he thought of after the journal.
Did it say if it was a male?
I think it's a male.
Okay.
Male and female.
I can't remember. But like, obviously too, when you're posting online, you might be scared. You don't even want to put what really is happening. He probably like toned it down or something.
Yeah, that's a good point. I forget about that. Like, some men will usually chill out their abuse at home because they're embarrassed or whatever.
Yeah.
This person doesn't seem to have an issue though, like admitting that they were having a breakdown and crying. So I'd hope that they would tell us the more truth. But I do think that like, if your only thoughts are like to think about this now because you found that journal entry, then there probably is a lot of other red flags that you totally missed and like aren't thinking about.
Yeah, or
because
just
you haven't had to
because you love them so much.
Yeah, and that happens all the time. But that's also how people die all the time. It's like, I loved them so much I couldn't leave, or I looked past these red flags because no, they would never do that to me.
Yeah,
and then you find the next victim, which is so sad.
Yeah, it's like, imagine he would have never found the journal, and then it's like, oh, I accidentally killed the neighbor. She was trying to break in.
Right.
He's like, oh my God, it was an accident. I love her so much. I'm going to help her cover it up. Like, something crazy.
Or something, right.
Yeah,
wild.
Just like, yeah.
I wonder what else is in the journal, if that's the only entry that has death in it.
Maybe he was scared,
he just
threw it. He's like, no,
I can't find out. Because imagine finding out even worse stuff about your partner. Yeah. Like, how would you be able to sit in the same room as them?
You're like, dear diary, it started with geese and now I'm on X.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's just fucking terrifying. I don't know. I hope they get help though, but I like wonder if they should confront them. Would you confront them or would you just leave?
I feel like because of the situation, I don't know. What if you confront them and she's like, "Ha, you should have seen your face.
Yeah, this is all a joke.
Yeah.
Haha. Or what
like,
if worse?
She beats his ass.
Yeah. Why are you looking through my shit? Or like whatever. Like, what if she hurts him really, really badly? Yeah.
Yeah, you never know. I don't know.
That's so terrifying.
I think maybe if I would do it with other people.
Yeah, with people around. Yeah, or in a public space.
In a public place. Hey, you want to go to dinner, love? And then it's like, I read it. I saw
your journal.
And then she like says something crazy. No, not that. Yeah.
Well, I think like the first instance that he gave with the egg, I don't know, because like the whole like, that's how you know it's like you feel bad is that it's an accident or whatever. But like the fact that she saw it was a fetus and was like, huh. Like, ha, at least it's dead. Yeah. Like, what is that reaction? Like, that is such a telling reaction.
And maybe, I'm like, maybe it's like, I was going to say, maybe that's a sign of like mental issues in her brain. Maybe she's missing parts of her frontal lobe.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking, actually? Because me and you both were talking about finding Reddit stories and stuff. Some of the comments and stuff like that, sometimes people know what the fuck they're talking about. You know, they add a little bit more information. I remember this other story, nothing to do with this, but the woman in the story was acting like kind of aggressive out of nowhere and kind of crazy. Mm-hmm. And then it turned out she had cancer.
Oh,
and other people were saying like, that same things were happening to like their mother, their grandmother, whoever, these people, their father, whatever. And it's what happens when they're on medication sometimes, and the cancer is acting badly to the medication.
Oh, interesting.
And it causes them to act aggressive and it's like it's in their brain or something. So with like new medication or just medication in general, it can help you, because sometimes that cancer, like, so I wonder, what if she just developed cancer or something?
Yeah.
And she just fucking, it's just changed her, and we won't know.
It's not something that's known. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's like kind of, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a rare case. Sometimes this is also like, and not a rare case, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it's like, yeah. No, it's interesting that you said that, because, as you know, but I've been rewatching Buffy, and in the season we're in, they find a small tumor in her mom's head, and they're at the hospital, and then she just starts saying crazy stuff like, oh, like, you bitch, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then she just snaps back. And then she's like, yeah, the doctor said, like, the way that the tumor is pressing on the brain, like, sometimes she'll say...
It fucks you up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, interesting. What a full circle.
That is really, yeah. And so, I don't know. That's really interesting to think. Maybe she's just doing that. But I think, like, the multiple cases, it doesn't seem like it's a consistent thing. Yeah. It just seems...
And then, like, also, like, I wonder if it's a timeline, like, how long each incident was in between. And was there incidents in between those? Or is it, like...
Was she having high stress about anything?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I think if she is, like, going through stress herself, then it maybe is even more of an indicator that she is, like, on the path of being a killer. Because it's, like, you know, they talk about how, like... high stressors and situations make you snap, but things lead up to that, and you usually look for relief while it's building up. So like killing animals, hitting a geese, and like crunching an egg and laughing about it or whatever, or like bringing despair to people, like that is all ways for them to feel better and more relieved. But I'm not a fucking doctor, and I'm not a scientist or a detective, so that's just all a thought. But yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, I thought when I read that one, I was like, I can't imagine, because imagine just one day your partner just like starts fucking killing animals, like innocent animals and shit. But let's go ahead and tell us about your story, Jess.
Okay, yeah. So this one is from subreddit Glitch in the Matrix.
Ooh.
And it caught my eye because the title is The Sixth Sense, and I love that movie.
Yeah.
So it says, I have posted here before about my many glitches over the years, but this is my favorite or the weirdest and the wildest one to explain away. I got married in August 2000. I was headed to law school and my husband to a master's program, so we had no money. We both love movies, so we decided to use some of the wedding money for a DVD player. Because it was the 2000s, and honest to goodness, Blockbuster had just started the DVD rental shelf in the middle of the VHS tapes. Anyhow, I love movies and I love movie rental stores. When I discovered Blockbuster's little shelf of DVD rentals one day on my own, I was so excited. I looked over all the DVDs available and saw The Sixth Sense as an option. And I adore that film. I silently decided right then and there that I would buy it as my first DVD when I own one.
Nice.
Just as soon as we purchased a DVD player. And I would rent it ASAP in the meantime until I can afford to buy a DVD. Sometime later, in parentheses, maybe that week or the next week, pretty close in time, we went to Sears in the mall to get a DVD player. Again, it's the 2000s. We chose a Sony player and they handed us the sealed box and we went home. It was later in the evening and I was a little bummed on the drive home that we could hook up the player to the TV but would have no DVD to play. To try it out, I'm excited about the new toy. I thought again to myself, but never out loud, that the next day I would go to Blockbuster and rent The Sixth Sense. If I could not buy it right away, to be fair, it was less simple and more expensive at the time than to just go purchase a DVD.
Yeah, they were new back then.
We got home, we unboxed the obviously factory sealed player and hooked it up. I pushed the open door to test it. And there in the tray sat a silver DVD. I wondered if it was some sort of trial disc or instructions or something similar, so I picked it up. It was the Sixth Sense DVD.
Way. That is crazy.
I looked at the packaging to make sure it wasn't some sort of promotional material that came with the DVD player, like a Nintendo or Xbox could include. But nope, no mention of such inclusion, and not having lived decades since and purchased many DVD players after that one, I've never had the same experience, and no other movie came with any other player. The player we purchased was not a floor model or the last one they had, so it had not been hooked up to the store for demonstration or anything like that. I have never told this story. It's too weird and wonderful of a gift from the universe. I am forever grateful for however it came to pass. I still love physical media and still have my vast and curated DVD collection with original packaging for most, but not for The Sixth Sense because it's the DVD I own with the best backstory.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
What a crazy. I was not expecting it to. I thought maybe it was going to come like in the box. Like, it was just going to be in the box or something. Or maybe like their parents gifted it to them randomly, even though they didn't mention anything. But for it to be inside the player.
Yeah. And just
that's good. That's great.
I know, that was like, dude, that's some real manifesting.
That's
I want to
so
be that.
good. That's the level of sim that like, what?
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, what the fuck? Like, how does that happen? What are the chances? Like, what are the chances that somebody at the factory maybe possibly was putting that in to test it and then left it inside or something? Like, what are the, there were so many things that would have to happen.
Yeah. And I'm like, what was that like? How do they even do that for DVD players?
Right.
Like,
I don't know how it was back then. And I wonder if anybody else accidentally got a DVD in their players that they bought from a manufacturer.
Or was someone like who was doing them like, oh, this is going to be great. This will be
Was it a return and they just made it seem like a fucking like it was never opened?
Maybe.
And they just left their DVD in there? Because either way, regardless of, it still
crazy.
Ended up in there.
Yes, yeah.
And
the
at
fact
that person's
that
house.
They wanted it so bad.
It went to anybody, but it went to the person who was literally dying to own it.
Yes,
that is crazy.
Yeah.
I love that. That's great. I love those stories. Sim is so. I don't think I've had any large sim moments for me. So to me, like that's like really cool.
Have you had any glitches in the Matrix?
I mean, other than like you put something down and it's not there anymore, and then you look again and it's there. Like other than that, like I haven't had nothing.
Yeah,
really. What about you? You've had big ones?
I don't think I've had like. I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever had like a glitch. We'll have to do like scary stories one day and talk about like our paranormal things, because I feel like paranormal things aren't glitches.
No.
Okay.
That's different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. But I was going to say, was it you that told me the one where someone was getting in a car crash? No? Where they literally were driving and then they like were supposed to crash and they closed their eyes. And then when they fucking opened their eyes, they were just on the road. There was no car. There was no other car. There was no accident. There was nothing.
No.
That one's the nuts one. That one, like, I don't know if they were on drugs or what, but if it's true, if it's honest, it's like, holy fuck. Like, imagine feeling like, yes, I'm, like, they felt like they were really about to impact another car, thought they were in the middle of a crash, but then they're not.
Yeah. No, I was going to say one that I heard that's kind of similar that someone sent into a podcast was about her and her partner going to the same place as a group of friends, and they're both heading the same way, and they're stuck in traffic for hours. There's this huge accident, blah, 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 blah. And like when they get there, their friends are like, what took you so long? And they're like, oh, the huge accident. There's so much traffic, this, and that. And they're like, we passed through there. There was nothing. And like, they're like, what? And they both saw it.
Yeah.
And then, a few, I don't know if it was weeks or like months later, the girl that was driving had an accident right there, but survived. And then she thinks that maybe she saw into the future. Because it's in the same spot.
What the fuck? But why did the other person? So the other person also saw into the future?
I don't know. I guess.
Because they also experienced it.
Yeah.
That's really nuts.
Yeah.
I know. Those things are never answerable. That's the thing about glitches is like either you believe them or you don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I heard one where this person had a jug of water that they had in their room because they didn't like going out to the living room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
you know
it?
No,
go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, well, they like thought like they were running out of water or whatever. They had like those automatic pumps or whatever, that the tube that goes down. And so they knew they didn't have enough, like they had to tilt it out into their cup or whatever. And then, so they knew they had no water. And then they went to bed, and when they woke up, they had like third of the gallon was full again.
What?
That's a third. Weird. And they were like, why would anyone take it and like go fill it up a third of the way? Like, that's almost impossible to do. And like, why would I have tilted it out if it had a third of the water in there? Like, it wouldn't have worked. And so she was like, that was her glitch. And I was like, that one is the simple ones, the super simple ones are the ones that fucking trip me up the most.
Okay, right when you said gallon, I don't know why it reminded me of the glitch of the girl in the kitchen cutting a lemon or a lime. And it's like a camera, it's video camera feed into the kitchen that she's working in. And she's cutting like limes or lemons and putting them in bags like for to go or something, I assume. And she goes to cut it and you see it cut. You see it split. She moves it to the side, goes to get the bag, and it's not cut. So she cuts it again, but you see in the camera that she cuts it. And it went back to... You haven't seen that?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Hold on. Let me pause really quick.
Okay.
Okay, so I just showed Dust the lemon video.
And it was wild. I don't know, like, I can't understand those simple ones. Those simple ones fucking break my brain, I think. Because it's like, yeah, I had to watch it twice. Because I was hold on.
You're like,
I was like, she definitely did cut it, and then it wasn't cut. Yeah. That's, maybe I've experienced something like that, too. But nothing that I can really think of, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I think I did something. But then I always just chalk shit up to my bad memory. I'm like, maybe I didn't do it. Yeah. Because I'm not recording things I do. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, that's really crazy. I wonder if there has been things that I just, like, am like, dude, because sometimes people swear to God we've had conversations or I've said something, and I don't think I did. But then it's, like, literally within that moment they said I did. And I'm like, so is that my memory or is that a fucking glitch on their part? I don't know, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, glitches are weird. We'll have to do a
glitch episode.
A glitch episode, yeah.
For sure. Okay, my next story is from Best of Redditor Updates. Mm-hmm. So it's the full thing. So bear with me.
Yeah, my next one is also from there.
Yeah, okay, bear with me. Okay, it says, my wife of 4 years got a tattoo recently with her best friend. I should also say trigger warning because it has a trigger warning. I think suicide. Anyway, my wife of 4 years got a tattoo recently with her best friend who has a very aggressive type of bone cancer. She didn't discuss it with me at all. Just did it while I was on a training mission. Came home Monday morning to her with his name tattooed on her neck with a Pokemon.
What the fuck?
I have not returned home since I saw it. I've been sleeping in the barracks and I'm honestly thinking about just filing for the divorce. Am I wrong? I think the title was, Am I the asshole for wanting a divorce over a tattoo?
Okay.
But, edit. I have heard from a few of my neighbors she basically moved him in for the 6 weeks I was away.
Wow.
And left a few days before I returned. She's refusing to even discuss it. All she keeps saying it has nothing to do with me and her. Update. She was served divorce papers yesterday at our previous home together. She thought it would be a good idea to involve both our families without giving them a reason of or context. Just that I filed for divorce after I got home from my last training mission. So, as the parents called, I told them about the tattoo and her moving him in while I was gone and let them deal with her. I spoke with my CO about it, which I can't remember what CO is.
Is it...
It seems military specific.
Corporal officer?
Maybe. Something like that.
I don't know.
It says, he said I should just let JAG, probably another military thing, handle the paperwork, and he will have me in a new duty station by Monday. He said, a man can't live with that level of disrespect, and I agree with him. They said, I asked her what she did after I saw it, and she said, I got a Pokemon tattoo, and she showed me. I saw his name on her neck. I just went quiet, picked up my bags, walked back onto base, went and saw my CO, and had a drink. They said, it hurts that she turned me down last year about getting matching tattoos just to get one with her Pokemon Go buddy. It's not the tattoo, it's the complete disrespect and disregard of what that is a constant symbol of. Got all my ducks in a row, as they say, sat down and spoke with my future ex-wife. She honestly expects me to just step aside and let her play house with her friend. Pause our marriage, wait till they're done, then continue our life together like nothing happened. I can't live with her plan and so getting divorced. Waiting nearly 6 years on her already, not wasting any more of my life on her. We'll be in my new duty station by the end of June, a fresh start, I hope, and put all this behind me. This morning, my commanding officer, pulled me from a training flight to inform me of my wife's death.
What?
and got me on a flight back to North Carolina. Should arrive at my parents' house in about 8 hours. A month ago, I filed for divorce and changed duty station to cut her completely out of my life. I didn't want to hear how this thing with her friend James was temporary and how our marriage would go back to normal after he passed. I am not suicidal or anything like that, but I am profoundly saddened. I keep thinking about how 6 months ago we were happy and in love, and now she took her own life when I just didn't accept that what she was doing for her friend who was dying from cancer. I'm riddled with self-doubt and blaming myself for her actions. Thinking about everything, and our parents had been friends for decades, and that is now dead in the water, another victim of her delusion. I know these were all her choices, but I still feel guilty for her death. I don't know if hell is real or not, but I hope James ends up there for what he caused. Update. Had a meeting with the funeral home today. She already set most everything up and paid for it a little over a week ago. We're having a memorial service at my in-laws' house on Wednesday. Her ashes will need to be picked up in a few days. I have a grief counseling session on Friday morning. Somebody asks, this is part of the updates, is that it'll say comments that the OP has responded to.
Yeah.
And it says, I'm sorry for your loss. Did she ever admit to cheating? I might have missed it. A week or so ago, my mother called me and confirmed she was almost 3 months pregnant. So that confirmed.
Oh my gosh.
She was sleeping with him while I was away for 6 weeks. They said she hit the pause button on our marriage so she could play house with him while I was on a training mission in California without informing me. She was pregnant with his child when I came back and wasn't going to tell me. If it wasn't for the stupid tattoo she got with his name, I might have fallen for it and slept with her. And she would have made me raise his child as my own.
Oh my gosh.
So that's pretty much like kind of the ending of it. There really isn't. I mean, she's dead now. There's no update.
Yeah.
She killed herself. I'm just like, I feel terrible for OP because they said that they felt bad because they feel like, guilty a little bit because they ended the marriage and then she killed herself.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what this kind of reminds me of?
Huh.
I don't know if you've seen it in the news lately, but somebody in Ohio at Ohio University, the college, the mother, she killed herself. She jumped off the building while her daughter graduated.
What?
And the last thing she said was, "You'll always be my daughter and I love you," and then jumped off the fucking building and killed herself.
Holy moly.
And this kind of reminds me of that, where it's like, it's so narcissistic almost. Like, you're such a martyr for the fact that, like, you just want your way so badly. Like, I have no idea what this mother and her daughter were going through, but the words, like, "you'll always be my daughter," before you do something like that, just screams like maybe there's a reason why, like, you're saying that. Like, maybe she felt like she wasn't her daughter anymore or whatever. But in this case, it feels like because she had no more control over the situation, because she couldn't trick him, because she couldn't make him raise the baby, because she wanted to be able to fuck this guy until he died and then be back with her husband, and she can't do that. She had to kill herself, and it almost feels like she knew it was going to make him feel bad. That's exactly what I thought of when I was reading it. I was like,
yeah,
that's so fucking evil. Like, because there's some people who, like, I will never say suicide is a selfish thing, because a lot of people think that, but I think it's one of the hardest decisions people make. But in these instances, it definitely feels selfish. Like, especially the mother too. It's like, you can't let your daughter have one fucking day. She's graduating. You can't let her have one fucking day. You had to kill yourself on that day, bitch.
Yeah.
Like, way to ruin that for the rest of her fucking life. You know what I mean? Like, so selfish. Same with this bitch. Like, not, you know what I mean? I'm no pro-lifer by any means, but you were pregnant with this other guy's baby and you didn't give a fuck because you couldn't make your husband raise it, so you killed yourself.
Yeah.
You were clearly planning on keeping it, but that's crazy to me. I don't know. That story fucked me up a little bit, because you always hear about, like, those military people getting cheated on. You always hear about it. It's a meme, like, "Oh, we'll keep her safe for you, bro, while you're gone," or whatever. Yeah, but it's like, this level, that's nuts. The tattoo on the neck, how are you gonna think that was okay?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Would you be okay with your partner if their friend was dying of bone cancer, right?
Yeah.
And they got their name tattooed on their neck with something?
I don't know. I'm like, how close are they? Like,
they're living together while you're gone.
Mean, yeah. And I guess it depends how it comes about and if it's talked about before. Like,
yeah. Do you think so? You think the issue comes from them not discussing it first?
Yeah, and like obviously if you're not discussing something, it's because you know it's wrong.
And
so that may not be the dynamic in all relationships. And what do you know?
Yeah.
Maybe he would have been like, wow, that's awesome. I actually have this girl that I know over here, and
sure,
she was saying we should get tattoos. Like, that sounds great, you know?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, I don't know. I think it just depends on the situation and like how it's presented.
Well, do you think having a dying friend is the excuse for anything not said? Like, well, they're dying.
I'm like, yeah, you still could have told me.
It was on a whim. They were dying. They wanted it.
I'm gonna die.
Like, I'm still gonna be here, having to look at your neck.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, either way, I'm like, you could have called. You could have texted. They got phones.
For sure.
They'd be posting TikToks.
And I think it totally is another thing to, like, get a picture and it's matching than to get, like, names and stuff. Yeah. But that's also, like, part of your dynamic. It's something you have to talk about. So, I think you're right. That's fucked up. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay, this one is long. I think maybe longer than yours.
Okay.
It is 5 days old. It's also from Best of Redditor Updates. It's, am I the asshole for not telling my parents the event they were missing was my wedding? Buckle up, guys. This will be kind of long. So I, 27 female, have a younger brother, Mike, 21 male. He is the definition of a man-child and a mama's boy. Always complaining, always expecting others to bow to him. Just overall, an asshole. Ever since he was born, my parents fussed over him for everything. He's not special needs or had a traumatic birth or anything of the sort. He was just born. And my parents completely discarded me. My mom, 50 female, especially. She went from a loving mother to one of those boy moms that people make fun of on the internet.
Yeah.
My father, 50 male, still showed me love and support. But he's always been too much of a coward to stand up to my mother and let me win at least once. The only one who stood for me was my grandpa, 76 male, who always called my parents out for their bullshit and never liked my brother. I remind him of his late wife, my grandma, and we have a very special bond, but he lives on the other side of the country, and I could never see him often. Mike knows our mom prefers him and loves to shove it in my face. Because of this and his behavior, we've always been at odds. He's spoiled, a brat, and an awful human. I can't remember how many times I ended up in trouble for things I did better than him, or for things he framed me with. His only talent are his football skills. He won a scholarship to a nice college out of state. My parents didn't spend a dime on my education because apparently my fund had been used to cover expenses after a fire. Just for me to discover years later that said money was given to Mike to buy a car and a house. It's at a public university that I met Lucas. He was the first person I was really drawn to there. Of course, I met new people who are my dearest friends. And thanks to them and Lucas, who was my best friend for years before we got together, I managed to move out of my parents' house. Now, both Lucas and I are well known in our fields and have very good salaries. Now to the main issue. Lucas proposed to me a year ago. We're very private people, so we didn't post it on social media or anything. Mm-hmm. And when I told my parents, they dismissed it with a, that's nice. I'm starting to think that they downright didn't listen to me at all. We decided that we want to have a nice, simple ceremony and a reception with our friends and family. Lucas convinced me to invite my parents and brother, but they never responded to the invite. And whenever I went to visit and began to talk about my wedding, without mentioning that it was a wedding, my mom would always speak over me and about my brother's accomplishments and wild adventures. At one point, I got fed up with it and interrupted my mom to tell her that there was an event that I was planning to organize whose date was unmovable. She told me that they couldn't attend because my brother was playing the last game of the season that very same day. And they wanted to be there. God. Of course, this is favoritism. Didn't surprise me. They missed my ballets, shows, and both of my high school, university, and graduation. For things about him. At this point, I wanted to be petty, so I told both of my parents that it wasn't a problem to miss the event. Purposely omitted the fact that this event was my wedding and didn't insist further. Flash forward to a few weeks ago. I got married. It was perfect. My family, Lucas' family, and our friends were all there. And we had a blast. My grandpa was happy to give me away, and it was just perfect.
Aww.
My relatives asked me multiple times why my parents weren't there with us. I was honest and simply said they had to go to my brother's game and couldn't come. They gave me looks.
Like,
and,
fuck your fucking parents.
And my grandpa was visibly angry for a while, but otherwise, nothing strange happened. After the reception, Lucas and I left for our honeymoon, and we were phone-free the whole duration of the trip. But once we got back, we discovered that a shitstorm was welcoming us home. I turned my phone on and was unable to even unlock it before a storm of notifications popped up. Most of them were for my mother and brother. Mike called me all sorts of nasty names and insulted me because apparently one of my paternal aunts posted the photos of the wedding on Facebook and captioned it with a very obvious dig at my parents, especially my mom, for missing the wedding. The post apparently went viral in my parents' community, and they've been publicly shamed for mistreatment of me. It also turns out that my grandpa personally visited my parents to go on a tirade to shame my father, his son, to the point of tears. And this seemed to be my father's breaking point, because he was so distraught for missing his only daughter's wedding and for his father's disapproval, that he finally rebelled against my mom and is threatening divorce unless she makes it up to me. I think that's the reason why my mom has been spamming my phone with messages, at first insulting and threatening, and then downright pitiful, full of begging parties and pity parties. Now, I'm at home with my husband deciding on how to approach the situation. Most of my relatives, even those I didn't invite to the wedding, reached out to apologize for what I went through and to claim that they had no idea what was happening at home. Can't blame any of my relatives. They all live with my grandpa on the other side of the country or in another state. But my mom's sisters and friends are belittling me for not telling my mom about the wedding because now she's inconsolable at the thought of having missed my wedding. Personally, I think she just claims that to save face, but I'm not sure. The latest messages from my father and mother seem extremely saddened and hurt for missing my wedding. Now my family is divided on 3 fronts. The majority who is sticking by my side, my maternal aunts shaming me for hurting my mom's feelings, and my maternal grandparents who are adamant that I forgive my mom in light of her atonement. My best friends are telling me not to listen to them. So, Reddit, am I the asshole?
I mean, I don't think so.
There is an update.
Okay. Well, so far, I don't think they're an asshole at all. It seems like
neither.
Totally. I'm so glad their wedding went off without a hitch. I'm so glad they weren't there because I bet they would have still made it about the brother. Mm-hmm. I'm glad her grandpa was able to give her away and be a part of her special day. And I'm glad her partner is being supportive.
There is, like, before the update, there is, like, 6 clarifications about, like, that she did inform her parents to the wedding. She sent...
Yeah, she says in the beginning,
invitation
and they ignored
to their address.
And she said that's stupid. Yeah, fuck them, dude. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, she says she didn't repeat the date of her wedding because it had already been told to them. She didn't keep her wedding a secret. She's always kept contact with them because she's tried to break it off with them, but they're so overbearing and like...
It's weird that they're so overbearing, but also so focused on the brother.
Yeah. Okay, so the updates from July 9th. It says, first of all, I want to thank all of those who are interested in my story and those who wished me and my husband a happy life. I am beyond grateful for your reassuring messages and your love and feedback. The response was overwhelming and beyond what I ever thought it could be. I love you all so much. To those who believe my story was fake, I just want to say that I'm happy your family life is better than mine to the point where you think my reality as a fantasy.
That's so crazy.
But I'd appreciate it if you'd stop harassing me in my DMs claiming that I'm writing a fake story for attention. If I've missed a few details in the OG post, it's because I was overwhelmed from crying my eyes out because of my family's harassment. You're not forced to read my story or think it's true.
Yeah.
But I think keeping the smallest amount of decency would be nice.
Yeah, pass the fucking story, dude, if you don't believe it.
Oh, and before diving in to the update, let me clarify a few things. Yes, the invitation specifically stated that this was a wedding. No excuses. 2, my maternal side of the family didn't come to the wedding. I'm sorry if I didn't make that clear in the OG post. Most of them were busy and others had excuses to send a gift but not come. Don't ask me why they didn't discuss my wedding with my mom. It's not like I live in their brain. 3, my mother's atonement is the fact that she apologized via text. Now, on to the update. Things have been a little crazy this past week. I got off of Reddit for a couple days to gather my thoughts. Then I had a lengthy conversation with Lucas about how to proceed. He has been my rock, and I don't think I could ever love him more than I already do. My parents were always a taboo topic, but he hit me with a brutal reality check that I absolutely needed. We reached the conclusion that the fact that I kept in contact all this time and stuck around and couldn't go to North Carolina isn't healthy. I've realized that the reason I never fully went was that deep down I just wanted their approval. Even now, for once, pathetic, I know, but it's like a drug.
It's your parents.
Being with my parents, they can be loving, funny, caring, and warm until they're not.
Yeah.
The little love they give me makes you crave more. And you want their approval so badly that you destroy yourself. But that's enough. I promised myself that these things are going to change. I've thought about it and I've decided to start therapy and go to North Carolina with all of those who made an issue about this situation for good this time.
Yeah.
After the days dedicated on reflecting on how I feel, I ended up messaging my father to tell him that if he wanted to talk, I would meet him, Mom, and Mike in a neutral location the following day. He immediately replied and agreed, and we met at the park. My father's sisters and brother accompanied us for damage control. My father looked distraught as if he had been crying for a while. My mom looked the same, but I think it was out of anger and embarrassment. My brother looked annoyed. I told the 3 of them about their behavior and preference in regards to my brother always hurt me, and that their abusive behavior made me realize that I didn't want to contact any of them again after that meeting.
Good.
My mother tried to cut me off multiple times, but my aunt, the one who posted on Facebook, shut her up every single time. When I asked them why they would treat me this way, they didn't even know what to say. My father kept crying and apologizing without giving me an answer. My uncle reprimanded him for it. My mother seemed as if she was asking herself that for the first time. But, well, in the end, she just said that she simply disliked me. Plain and simple.
Ooh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I was going to say, was the handling of the father like a mollywop or something? Because it should have been. Like, they should have all got bopped up real quick. That's crazy.
And my brother, he just liked the attention and making me miserable as some kind of sport.
I honestly feel like it's not even on the brother. The brother got raised the same, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
he got raised to be that way. They treated him, they put him on a pedestal, and they made him feel like he can be that way over you. That has nothing to do with him at this point. Like, yeah, he's getting... How old's the brother, anyway?
Hold on.
I can't
scroll up. He's 21.
Oh, he's way too old. He's way too old to be...
Yeah.
I thought he was maybe like 17, 16 or something. I was going to say, well, that's not on him, I guess. But now you know better, so it is kind of on him. But fuck both the parents. The parents especially need their ass whipped, or like just some real reality. Like crying, still being the victims. Like, it's fucking annoying.
I went on with my questions. When I asked why they never responded to my invite, they claimed they had never received one. I showed them the text, but they denied receiving them. And well, it turns out they hadn't, in fact, received my wedding invitation. When it arrived to their house, they weren't there. The only one in the house was my brother, who had come up visiting for the weekend. He saw the invite, and as many as you guessed, he ripped it up and trashed it. And then when I texted my parents, he deleted the messages. Parentheses, wasn't hard to do. According to him, they kept my chat archived and didn't get notifications.
Oh my god, fuck the brother so much also. But, okay, but she still brought it up to them in person multiple times. And they ignored her.
So my parents never got a formal invitation. I was just distraught. I asked Mike why he would do that, and he just shrugged and claimed it wasn't as important as the stuff they had in program anyways.
The football?
I had to stop Lucas from punching him in the face.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I was going to say.
Strangely enough, my parents were upset, and they started reprimanding him. He actually began to throw a tantrum and cry crocodile tears, and I must admit that I was kind of satisfied. But then my mom claimed that all was resolved and there was no need to fuss over a misunderstanding.
I knew it.
And it was time to clear their name. That set me off.
Fuck off.
And I interrupted her, telling her that they weren't forgiven at all. That just because Mike trashed the invitation, it didn't mean that they automatically canceled their neglect for me as a child.
Yeah.
Plus, all the time it was so obvious that I was having a wedding.
Yeah.
And they should have asked about it. You want to know my mother's response? She said all along something along the lines of, I did hear you talking about a wedding of yours, but I thought you were being delusional and seeking my attention with exaggerated scenarios.
She already said she don't like you.
She was convinced Lucas didn't actually like me, nor would ever marry me. When I tell you I was about to trash her face, do you believe me?
Yes. Absolutely.
Another thing came up. It turns out that my brother didn't have a football game to go to at all. My parents used that fact
as an excuse.
Yeah. My husband and friends and I know little nothing about football. We prefer soccer. The fact that I stopped asking about it when Mike would mock me during his game in high school made to make up a story to avoid my event. So like they were just like, oh, they don't care about football. Like at the time I wrote the OG post, I couldn't confirm or deny the presence of a game because my brother's social media is private. Lucas and I are blocked. I foolishly trusted my parents' word, but no. You want to know where they went with that man-child?
Benihana.
They went to Disneyland.
Fuck off!
Because Mike wanted to go. They used the football story to cover up my brother's 100th tantrum holiday, and apparently they did it multiple times in the past month.
Disneyland?
Yeah. So
that's a lot of money.
And going, and he's 21. And like he was
and
like,
also knew about
like,
the wedding.
Wow,
that's
a
crazy.
Wedding.
The brother's such an asshole.
Yeah.
That's your sister at the end of the day. Yeah. One day, just one fucking day
like,
about
nah.
her.
He's like me and Mickey.
That's fucking wicked, bro.
At that point, I was completely burned out and overwhelmed by the amount of information. The fact that I had been fooled this badly, that I was so gullible, genuinely made my blood boil. And I snapped. I stood up and told my father that he was a sad, weak man, unable to stand up for his kids unless his wife approved of it.
Ooh.
I told my brother he was a little dipshit, a poor
piece of shit,
of man, and will not accomplish anything in his life. That he'll always live the leech he is. Baby to the point of uselessness. And to my mom, I just told her that I thought she was the worst, narcissistic, pathetic little
fucking
woman on
bitch,
earth.
yeah.
That she didn't even deserve to be addressed and judged for her irrelevance.
Ooh,
that
I don't
not
like
even
you.
God could help her out because is just too rotten. Harsh, I know.
Nah, that was not enough. I needed more. I loved it.
My mother shot up from her seat to scream at me halfway through the rant.
I should have slapped the fuck out of her.
But I was just too mad. I shouted at her, shut the fuck up and sit down and listen for once. She got so mad, it felt like steam was coming out of her ears. I don't remember much after that. Just that I kept talking and talking, and it felt like my anger and hurt just flooded
Throw hot
out.
soup on her.
At one point, I'm pretty sure the whole park went silent.
Oh, they were at the fucking park!
I spat at my
Get
parents.
a fucking switch.
Oh, I spat at my parents and Mike. That I was disowning them all, and if they're smart, they'll think about reaching out again. I took my purse and left with Lucas, Anna, and Francis, leaving my parents and brother at my aunts and uncle's mercy. I think the point of reality of what I had just learned said finally hit me, because I ended up having a panic attack on the way home.
Sure.
Lucas was driving, so Anna helped me through it until we stopped in a parking lot to calm down. I am beyond grateful for their help. Once home, I just fell on the bed and went to sleep. I really wanted to go with your guys' advice and post the whole thread on Facebook, but given my work career, I couldn't expose myself like that. One thing is sharing my story from an anonymous throwaway on Reddit. The other is Facebook with my name and face plastered everywhere.
Sure.
I couldn't go down that path. Instead, I did something better. I made a folder with all my mother's insults, messages, and awful comments, and sent it to the woman in charge of my mom's church.
Ooh.
It's a tight-knit community my mom worked her ass off to get into. But that it is also extremely judgmental. And being shunned by them is a death sentence.
Sure, yeah.
And well, that's exactly what happened, just like clockwork. The scandal spread like a wildfire, going out of church and reaching the rest of the small town. You can imagine what this meant for my mother and father. Because of my little spill, I did find other messages from my maternal side of the family belittling me more for upsetting their sister or daughter and insulting me. I just didn't care anymore at that point. So I followed your guys' advice and told them from now on they will no longer be a part of my life.
Yeah.
They can talk all the shit they want. I just won't care.
Yep.
Instead, they should be grateful I didn't send their nasty texts to their employers and spouses. I blocked every single one of them, grandparents included, on everything. I did find a lengthy message from my father. He apologized for not being so strong enough to face my mother, agreed that what I said was true, and couldn't believe that he had lost so much of my life because of her. He told me that he's going to divorce her no matter what my decision will be because he is tired of being controlled. He would like a relationship with me to make up for all the years that passed. I did reply to him to tell him that as of now, I really don't want to see him or forgive him. He has replied that he'll try his best with me to win me back, and that he loves me. I replied back that as of now, I find that hard to believe, and then blocked him too. Frankly, his slimy way of trying to have an out from the situation by throwing my mother under the bus is pathetic.
That's my thoughts, yes.
At least she was hateful and owned up to it. He is only to blame and not blame others for his choices. I don't want to surround myself with people like that. My mother and brother are blocked similarly, and Mike wrote messages to taunt and insult me, so I blocked him. My mom threw herself a pity party, being shunned from her community and for her marriage going into shambles, and I just replied, good riddance, before blocking her too. My grandpa, he has decided to stay with us for a while, to stick by my side. He really is the best and has read some of your comments. He isn't going to admit that he's flattered by some of them. Since then, a few days have passed and all has been quiet. Lucas is spoiling me rotten, and I'm starting therapy soon.
Yay.
I know this isn't the drama-filled, revengeful update
Kinda
that you
was.
guys hope for, but well, that's it. I'll let you know if anything changes or evolves. Thank you so much for the love and support you showed me. I think I'm going to log out now. As for now, goodbye.
Wow. I mean, at first I was like, well, I mean, the brother, he's been put in this position. And then it's like, no, he's a fucking animal, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they all needed to get their ass whooped. The mom just straight up being
She's
like,
oh,
I don't like you.
Yeah.
That's absurd. I would have had to go hands with my mom or something.
You're
She
like,
told
oh,
me
really?
that.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so you don't like me, then I'll give you a reason not to like me. Let's fucking
Yeah.
go. Let's fucking
go.
end this relationship
Yeah.
right now. But like, I commend them for like, I guess trying to have the strength to even have a conversation about it. Cause I don't know. I feel like sometimes I'm like, it's best for your own mental health to not even have the conversation. Just fucking cut it off.
Yeah.
Like, you're an adult. You don't like go to them for support of any kind. Just fucking cut it off. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, but the thing is with family, bro, like, we give them way more chances than we would give anybody else.
True.
And that's why when she was like, I know it's pathetic, it's like, no, I get it. It's your fucking parents. It's you want them to fucking love you.
You want it to work. Yeah.
And you want to be able to love them and them just like have this good relationship. Even if it's just like not super close, it's like at least a good relationship.
Yeah, just civil. Just, bare minimum.
But to go out of their way to make you feel like shit. To go out of their way to not go to something you're talking about or ignore you when you're talking about it.
And the fact that they lied about going to Disneyland, they already knew it was something wrong. I'm like, why don't you just say like, oh yeah, we're taking your brother to Disneyland? Why do you have to say, oh, he has a football game? Like,
and to say, oh, I thought you were being delusional. Well, that part.
I didn't think your boyfriend even liked you.
Jaw dropped. Because, like, I bet they had to have been together for a while before getting married. It's like, how do you think that? Why would you think that he doesn't like her? Because you don't like her? Because she's so unlikable
she's like,
to you?
There's no way.
It's like, what about your son? I bet he's fucking single and he's gonna be single for the rest of his fucking life.
Yeah,
he
that's because
need
no one's good enough for her little boy.
So gross, dude. Ugh, I wouldn't be surprised if something crazier goes on behind doors. Yeah. The fucking dad, too, like, when she said that, like, oh, he's trying to be slimy, I was like, yes, dude, I clocked it. I was like, when he said that, like, oh, it's because your mom, I didn't... Shut the fuck up and have some, responsibility for what you did as well.
Yeah.
The brother has no ownership whatsoever. He never says even sorry in this story once.
I know, yeah.
And I really wanted her husband to beat the fuck out of him. I was like, yeah, I get it. Like, I'd be mad as fuck if my partner's fucking sibling was talking mad shit and, like, tried to ruin an event for them that they thought was really special. Like, that's nuts. That's insane. Ugh, I feel so bad for them. But whatever. I'm glad it's over for them.
Yeah. Well.
Guess that's it for this episode.
That's it. We got 4 wild stories.
Yeah, the last one was a doozy for sure.
Yeah,
I'm glad we ended it with that one.
Thanks for staying along with us through those long stories and reading airs.
And hopefully you enjoyed it. Yeah. We can only get better.
Yeah, we're only going to slay. We're going to do this with our eyes closed. We're going to have them memorized. We're just going to be like,
yeah. We're going to be able to, we're going to be like AI chatbots. We're going to regenerate our own at some point. Okay, so well, bye. Get the fuck out of here.
I was going to say thanks for joining us in the abyss.
Oh, thanks for joining us in the Reddit abyss.
Bye.
Bye.